Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly video game podcast releasing every Thursday. I am your host, Alex Stadnik, and as always, I'm honored to be joined by the illustrious Alex Van Aken. Hello, sir.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Alex. Excited to be here. We're only a few weeks out from doing this in person, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get out of this box, this four-walled prison. It's going to be phenomenal.
The highlights of my day are like going somewhere else to see you, and the idea of like having an office.
Yeah, we could do all of our meetings over Discord, but I refuse to at this point.
Yeah. So
now that, numbers are going down, I'm like, all right, let's get back out there.
Let's go to the coffee shop. So
yeah.
Join us each episode alongside a rotating cast of GI editors and new friends from around the industry as we bring you the latest news, reviews, and big man swag your eyes and ears can handle. This week is a special one because we got to talk about Horizon. I've been dying to talk about Horizon. Let's get into it today. We're also going to discuss the unfortunate news about the Nintendo eShop on the 3DS and the Wii U. But first, let's introduce today's panel. You know her, you love her, the K-star herself, the one and only, the reviewer of Horizon. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. I had a lot of fun with Horizon the last week and a half, 2 weeks maybe. We had a lot of time to explore that game, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
so
everybody in the office but me got code for the game. So,
oh, are you serious? What did you do? What did you do to?
I don't know.
He didn't speak up when we asked if they wanted code or not.
I raised my hand. Heaven forbid somebody takes a vacation day around here.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls.
This is the consequence.
Yeah, I don't think the man was paying attention. Also, we are joined by new Game Informer staple, the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him. He hasn't met a chicken wing he doesn't like. Greg Miller in the building. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you guys?
I'm so good. I'm happy we could finally make this happen. We reached out to you in like probably August of last year, something like that, to coordinate it. And then you're like, nah, I'm having a kid.
I was like, let me pencil you in. I have such a crazy schedule.
Being a kid is a good reason, right? A kid's a good reason to be like,
well, that was the thing is like you guys were originally, we hit up in August. You're like, what about like late September, early October? Like that is the splash zone. We will have a child around then. That is not a good time, but maybe later.
Yeah. So we're very happy to have you now. We were thinking about guests to have on for this Horizon chat, and your name popped to the top of the list. So not your first GI show, but if it's been a long time since you've been on. So let's remind the audience who you are, right? You know, the sure. Co-founder of Kind of Funny. Do you want to talk about kind of your journey through the industry, going through starting at this indie site named IGN?
Sure, yeah, this little website called IGN. You probably don't know. It went away after a while. After I left. This is my 15th year in the video game industry covering video games. I grew up in the 4th grade. I had an issue of GamePro. On the cover was Death and Return of Superman. On the inside was Maximum Carnage. And I said, I want to do this with my life. And I worked to make that happen. Got a degree in journalism. Ended up going out to IGN 15 years ago. Almost to the date. It was the end of February where I started. And was lucky enough to get put on the PlayStation team there and kind of make my name covering PlayStation games and PlayStation news for about 8 years there before me and my friends splintered off and started something called Kind of Funny, which is, of course, a YouTube podcast empire. I don't know what you call it anymore, but
empire dynasty.
It was four best friends hanging out in a spare bedroom, and now it's 11 full-time people spread across the world hanging out in their bedrooms thanks to the pandemic, but about to have a world-class studio. A number of infinite number, it seems like, of independent contractors and then collaborators who come on to talk about video games, movies, comics, and everything else.
Perfect. Yeah. You've been in this industry 15 years. I know we had a lot of people on staff too who have also been on through the decades and stuff. I'm curious, like, what do you think has changed? What have you liked that's changed? What haven't you liked? Like that kind of stuff.
I mean, what I think you say stuff like that. I'll answer your story with a long-winded story, or your question with a long-winded story of my father is a construction worker in Chicago, right? And for years, I would say the first year I worked at IGN, he would come on the phone where always goes, and how's the magazine? I'm like, well, it's not a magazine, Dad. It's a website, and it's blah blah blah. And so he doesn't really understand our world, and so on the car ride, he came out to visit and meet his grandson for the first time at Christmas. And on the car ride to the airport, he was asking me, he's like, finally, after like a week of being here, like, talk to me about video games a little bit. He's like, what's the next big thing? And I was like, I have no idea, Dad. And that's the coolest thing of like, we can all sit here and we can all, I remember years ago when it was going to be, VR seems like everybody's getting in. Clearly that'll be a bigger thing than than it turned out to be. Yeah. And the same thing of like, I remember, 2007, be like, oh man, consoles, they won't be around for long. We're moving to a PC platform, a unified thing. It'll be gone. It'll be one thing. Like, the change is the craziest thing, that it is constantly evolving and constantly changing. And it's always video games, but what that means is changes so drastically. And you made a comment about me being a Game Informer and being through a few different shows. Like I'm these posts out of order, but I just did the Uncharted 3 episode, right, of Ben and Marcus's show. And even going back to look at Uncharted 3, a game I gave a 10 at IGN, I know contentiously, but gave a 10 at IGN. And like watching the cutscenes and like looking at my review, I'm like, man, like, even for a game that I thought was the pinnacle then, like you look at how far we've come now. And I mean, especially coming off of Horizon Forbidden West, just a game that is so visually stunning, and the score and the plot and like everything. I can't wait to talk about Forbidden West. But like the fact that everything changes is what keeps it interesting and keeps it fresh and keeps, I think, so many of us around, right? And the fact that like even now, 15 years later, I got hired to run the PSP IGN pages and review PSP games. And so things have drastically changed now that I just talk for a living.
Yeah, for sure. I know Kind of Funny has definitely impacted Alex's journey through this industry. I know it impacted mine. Is that, what do you think of the legacy you're kind of leaving, right? And the community that you've built around Kind of Funny?
I think it's too big to wrap my head around. That's the thing where I think, and you guys know it too, right? Like, especially know it where we are right now and smell it. It's review season, right? The leaves are changing, as Blessing would tell you. Like, we are an industry, and especially our side, the enthusiast press, right, that is always moving forward. And it's that thing of, have you ever watched The Program? This is a dated reference, but if you ever watched the movie The Program, about like James Caan running a college football program, right? And it opens with him starting the season and then closes with them ending the season. And it's the same thing of the same conversation at both sides of it, of like, they're on to the next thing. He just won the national championship, but it's on to the next thing. So for us, it was like, we're reviewing Dying Light. Dying Light's done. The review's up. It's doing great. Cool. Breath. All right. We're all on Horizon. All right. Horizon's done. Boom. Breath. When are we getting Elden Ring? All right. Like that's how this industry moves. And it has moved for 15 years for me. So it's rare you get that chance to look back. And for Kind of Funny, it really is usually our anniversary. Our Kind of Funny day is, in January, typically. This year, because of the pandemic, we're getting ready to open a brand new studio. Actually, we're getting ready to open a brand new studio. This year, because of the pandemic, it's delayed a little bit. So we actually delayed Kind of Funny day. But that's usually when you get to look back, at least the last year. And so when folks like you or Alex, the other Alex, sit there say that I inspired you on your journey or stuff like that, it's crazy because I don't feel old. Like when I say 15 years, when I bring up a game I reviewed and Blessing's like, I was in middle school and have no idea what that is. It's like, oh God, like that hits me. But it's more the fact that, when there was a PAX East before it all went bad, like probably 2019, where it seemed like that was the year that everybody who had listened to me in junior high and wanted to do this got a press pass for the first time. Because everyone who stopped me at demos was like, I have this because of you. And that's inspiring and awesome and incredible. And it's, not what I expected. I guess, the fact that I'm able to have hung in here this long and still have an audience and have now a company, right? And have brought on the next generation of people to make cool content and make awesome stuff and make those memories for the people. Like, that speaks to it, but it's still, you talk about a legacy. I don't think about it that way, even though I guess I do have one, obviously, as people, the kids who are referencing things I said on a podcast beyond in 2010, I'm like, oh my God, like that exists and that's awesome. But I'm glad that, even the people that just heard a video game review and got the impression that I liked a game and then they liked it, that's great. Let alone the people who, when we went a couple of years ago back to Mizzou, which is my alma mater, and did a video there and did a couple things, and like we held a meet and greet, and then they pulled the kids aside and like, what does Greg mean to you or whatever? And like every one of those people that was at that meet and greet that went to Mizzou was like, oh, I'm here because of Greg in some way. Like, I'm here because of, I want to get into journalism. I needed a school. And like, I bawled watching that, because that's not, you make these references to where you went to college and talk about how much you liked it and how it influenced my journey or whatever. I don't ever think that would then inspire other people to go do it. It's like, it's a lot to wrestle with. And I don't so I don't.
Yeah.
Like I just keep making cool
Yeah.
content and keep trying to be a really good person. And
Compartmentalize.
keep learning and evolving and changing. And, you know, I think one of the reasons I've been able to hang in there so long and, you know, be popular is I'm not the best video game player by any stretch of the imagination. Many would tell you I don't have the best video game opinions. It's just the fact that, like, I come from a good place, I think, with it, right? Like, all I want to do is talk to my friends about video games. Every time I do a review, and that was back at writing them at IGN or now just talking about them, it's just me trying to talk to my best friends on their couch. You know what I mean? Talking to my basement to Poe, my best friend, about video games. And that connects with people. And then the content we make around that it spirals out from video games of the cracks in my life of, you know, knowing stories about my son or my wife or my dog or whatever. Like, it's one of those things that I think people come to us as comfort food, because it is, you do have then, no matter where you are, whether you're having a good day or a bad day, whether you've moved to a new city or you want to celebrate something at the end of the night, you can turn on this show and you know you're among friends.
For sure. Yeah,
Rad.
I mean, I think that's a hell of a legacy, personally. But
Stop saying it like I'm dead.
Yeah.
The legacy you talk about when I'm gone, when I'm
Greg
retiring,
Miller, wherever he may be. So yeah, no.
We did have a listener question today that I don't know if we put it in the show, and it was like, "When are you gonna die?" And I was like, "What?"
It was
the hell?
what's your life percentage at, or something like that. Your
What's
life
your
I saw
completion
that one.
percentage? I was
completion
like,
percentage. Yeah.
hopefully, like 20%.
Yeah.
well, no, there was. I don't know if are you gonna actually do it? You think?
I mean, now that we brought it up, we can. I don't know.
I want to toss out that they had put something in there. I was trying to scroll back to it, and it was like, you know, what's your life? What's your life? What are your side quests? I'm currently on a side quest right now, and it was before I got the topic implanted in my head. But I'm on a real life side quest right now, and it's the craziest thing. Where last night I came home, I went and saw the Uncharted movie. Full review, youtube.com/kindoffunny momentarily. And I got here, and, you know, we had our nanny here. Nanny had already left, but Jen was catching me up on the night. And she's like, yeah, but like, we can't find any of the pacifiers. And we have so many pacifiers for my son. So many pacifiers. We can't find any of the pacifiers. So she's like, keep your eye out. And so today, while I'm taking care of him, putting away clothes, getting dressed, I'm seeing them and I'm picking them up. And it's that thing of like, I literally see like the side quest like getting checked off of like, find it in the
6
bedroom.
out of 25.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. I wish I knew how many I was looking for. It's just question marks, but I found 5 already and I'm feeling really good.
There we go. Wait, how many pacifiers do you need for a child?
A lot.
The real question is, how
They
lazy
throw
do you want to
them.
be?
Oh, I see.
Because it's the more you have, the less dishes you have to do. Do we need the amount of bottles we have? Of course not. But do I want to be doing bottles every night? No, I don't.
Absolutely not. Okay, cool. Well, cool. Thank you for the mini interview there. We'll get into the rest of the show.
I love talking about myself.
Yeah. Let's talk about Nintendo, shall we? Maybe not the best news for you know, fans of retro gaming and keeping their collections together, but late last night, Nintendo tweeted out in the sicko hours, making sure people were, you know, looking for pacifiers and not paying attention.
It was 7 p.m. Alex.
Was it? Was
We went live. Yeah.
Hey, that's 7 a.m. your 7 p.m. your time. That's still when you send out a press release. When nobody's at their keyboard.
Yeah, I was at the Wolves game. I wasn't paying attention to that. So. Nintendo will end eShop purchases for Wii U and 3DS next year. This is from the news hound, Wes LeBlanc. Who Wes wanted to relay. What did he wanted to remind you of the article where he burned you so many months back. I don't know if you remember that at all.
Never heard of it. Don't even know what you're talking about. Not the one where I was the unnamed fan. He couldn't mean that.
No, not that one. Yeah. Let's see. So Nintendo has revealed that eShop purchases on the Wii U and 3DS will come to an end next year. More specifically, it will no longer be possible to make eShop purchases on these two consoles after late March of 2023. A blow to digital game preservation. Once this goes into effect, the only way to purchase games on both the Wii U and 3DS will be physically. And if previous digital storefronts shut down, like this are any indication, those physical game prices are about to skyrocket. It will no longer be possible to download free content, including game demos. Nintendo wrote as of August 29th of this year, it'll no longer be possible to use an eShop card to add funds to an account in the Nintendo eShop on Wii U or 3DS family of systems. However, it will be possible to redeem codes until late March 2023. So it's like, it feels like, I don't know why they would cut those off at different times, right? But it's like you need to pay attention to that August date of this year, because if you want to make any purchases, like, you got to do it in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
So,
this news it sucks, especially for a company that has as much money as Nintendo. you know, I don't know. I guess we are what, 5 years into the Switch?
Mm-hmm.
God, yeah, this is the 5th year of the Switch coming up in March.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess for the Wii U, it makes more sense than the 3DS, but there are so many 3DSs out there. I'm surprised that they are willing to also just shut that down cold turkey as of next year. But
I think this news is not as much of a disappointment if Nintendo themselves curated games better on the current platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do have Switch Online, we do have access to Super Nintendo games, and now the N64 games, but it's like there's still so many holes in that library where it feels like, and especially too, like I look at like when Metroid Dread came out last year, right? Everyone wanted to play the GBA games to get caught up, right? And it's like, yo, you got like $400 to buy not only an old Game Boy, but like also the cartridge. Like, good luck. And that sucks for people who don't want to use emulators, right? Who want to, like, you know,
have the real experience.
Yeah, exactly. So
2 months ago, I bought, what did I buy? Minish Cap and Pokemon Fire Red. It cost me $180.
Holy Lord,
games.
you better expense that.
Yeah.
Kim, I don't know. I know you love the old JRPGs, right? Like, what do you make of this? Like, are you disappointed? Is this kind of a nah thing for you?
I'm not surprised because it's Nintendo, and I figured this was coming at some point, and it, you know, as we talked about, the Switch has been out for a while. I think what still bothers me is that, like, I wish Nintendo figured out a better way, as we talked about, just to, like, if you own one of their retro games, like Earthbound, like, I don't want to keep buying Earthbound every time it comes out for a new. I love Earthbound, and I do it, and maybe I'm part of the problem here with it, but like,
if you would stop buying it, they might figure it out.
I know, but it's like just have to rebuy some of these things so you can have these classic games over and over again. When it's like, you know, or I have to go get out this old system and play it. Like, I just wish there was better ways that they connected that, or at least like had some program or something that helped with that. Because as I do, like I said, I look at how many times I've bought certain games and I'm just like, damn.
Good job, mate. Yeah.
But it's like, I'm gonna want to play that like on the go portable. I think that, like, as Alex discussed, the 3DS is a little bit more surprising because I think a lot of people still actually use their 3DSs, especially if you're not Switch owners and you want a good, like, portable system. But
yeah,
as an RPG fan, especially some of those niche RPGs, those prices are just gonna go up, and that's always been the difficult part. If you don't get things right at release, sometimes you will end up paying a lot of money.
A lot. Yeah. Greg, how about you? Does this, are you clamoring to the eShop now? Are you gonna try to buy up all these things? Do you already have like a decent Wii U collection?
Oh, hell no, I hate the Wii U. The Wii U is a terrible system. Good riddance.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're getting it's a weird one, right? Because when is the right time to do something like this? Like, this is inevitably going to happen to these online stores, especially the ones that aren't moving forward, right? Like, we can look to Xbox, right, and talk about backwards compatibility and talk about how deep that library is and that they're a platform. So you're not as worried about something like that happening. And then you can go to the opposite side there of PlayStation in terms of Xbox, PlayStation, right? And see when PlayStation tried to pull this. This wasn't that long ago, right? Where they were like, you know what? We're shutting down PS3 and Vita stores. Yep. Everybody rebelled, and Jim Ryan's like, you know what? We will keep them open. We have heard you. We're sorry. Yeah, we're still going to close the PSP. That's dying, but everything else will stick around. Yeah. And so it gets into this sticky situation because I'm a guy who, for over these 15 years has stumped for digital games. I love digital games. I'm not a collector, and I was in my youth, and then when I started moving, and then when I definitely moved to San Francisco to live in smaller places, I was like, you know what? I don't need the physical statues anymore or the boxed copies on my shelf. I'd rather have it all be digital. But this is then the downside that eventually those stores will close, and then you're into a place of, okay, it's scarce. And like, I'm somebody who in this argument, I can argue myself all the time, where it's like, okay, cool. Well, if you own the games, you can still download them. It's not like they're gone. It's not like they're, gone. Sure. But what about new people? And then, okay, well, if a new person dropped right now and they wanted to play something on the Sega Genesis, granted, let's take away ROMs, let's take away in certain games that aren't on, the system or, digital systems already, they'd have to do that. And then it's this thing, well, isn't that for scarcity? If you can put the game on anyway, why? Well, and then you go, and it's this whole thing of like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. You argue that like, basically this is an inevitability for every digital platform that it's going to go away in some regard, and you're going to have to either have bought it already or move on to a new thing or be like Kim and buy it everywhere you can as it comes through.
Yeah.
And so I think what's interesting about this argument is what you've already brought up, the fact that like, sure, I personally, the Wii U's been dead to me since pretty much it came out. But for the 3DS, yeah, a lot of people still do use their 3DS and are active on that platform. And this is a, great, and I'm using air quotes so you can see me, great move by Nintendo to then be like, all right, cool. Well, maybe it's time you came over to the Switch. If you're still so into your 3DS, maybe you should check out this other handheld we have that maybe you haven't purchased.
Right. Yeah.
But is it too soon? Is it too early? I don't know. It's it's another great way to push up your financials too. Of like, if you want these games, get in there and buy them right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it makes, I think coming back to it, circling around to it, it does make sense that this is happening. But because I think a lot of people view that Wii U library as like the best place to get some of those Game Boy games and other
100%, 100%
spots to get it. So it's like, I would have loved for Nintendo to be like, yeah, we are closing this, but look forward.
Here's our new system. Here's our new platform, not system. Here's our new application on the Switch that'll allow you to get that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all I want.
That's the right way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to imagine that's coming, right? Maybe this is a step in that, but there's like,
dude, I don't know, dude. Nintendo,
I know. Yeah.
WND's weird Nintendo decisions. I don't for a second believe that they are like ready. They will pull that trigger when they need to, when they have to, when they want to make you buy something else. Sure, but again, and that's the thing. There's so many different arguments here, but like for Nintendo, it's for sure forced digital scarcity. Oh, yeah. They could do this stuff. They could, and you can give them at least the pat on the back here of like, as of late 2023 or March 2023, okay, you're giving a year for people to wrap their heads around and really figure it out. And what are they seeing on their side in terms of sales through the eShop on the 3DS, on the Wii U? If they've already seen it start to dwindle down, maybe they are anticipating by 2023, like nobody is doing it.
Yeah. And I think that we get lost in our bubble on the timeline, right? Like our timeline was upset, reasonably so about this, but it's like, they obviously have to have some numbers where it's like, 6 people downloaded something today. You know what I mean? Like, that's not worth keeping the servers open, even though it does suck for preservation. So it's like,
and that's the bigger thing with our timeline, I would think, and from what I saw yesterday, is the more the idea of like, oh man, it sucks that these games are just going to be inaccessible. It's not so much of like, oh, a whole bunch of people are about to run out and buy them, or oh, I know dozens of people who are still buying things on 3DS. It's more the idea that if on a whim you wanted one of these games that are only available through those platforms, you can't get them in March 2025.
Yeah.
One thing I do wish that, like, as a Band-Aid maybe, is I don't think they ever published a way, like a tool where you could merge your 3DS account and your Nintendo, the newer accounts, because the 3DS is all tied to the hardware, right? It'd be great if I could. I thought, did they change that? I
think I'm connected now. Don't quote me on that.
Really?
I think it's connected.
Go to my Nintendo. Let's see what I got written in here.
Okay, because that changes things. Because my worry was, okay, the accounts are still tied to the hardware. Now that you mention it, you might be right. I feel like a year in, like they published something.
Because I signed into the same account that I had logged into my Switch to see, because they did like a memories website, right? It was a high school yearbook where you could go through and like check out, your stats for 3DS and Wii U. And never played the Wii U like most people, so I didn't get that section.
Smart man.
Yeah.
My point is still the same. Is what I was going to make. Yeah. If you purchase those games on 3DS digitally, and they re-release them on the Switch digitally, it would be phenomenal if my purchase history carried over and I could then access. I want. Yeah, I think that's a really fair way to do it. But yeah, I was just thinking about like the PT situation where people are like selling off PS4s that had a copy of the game. I'm like picturing some sicko on eBay selling a new Nintendo 3DS with all of the BC Pokemon games on it for $700, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is.
I got that little the limited run like Mario and Luigi one. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I go buy all these up. So. Yeah,
this is a cottage industry now for you, Alex. Just go get every 3DS you can off eBay. Just start loading them up.
Yeah, I'm sure my fiance would love just a wall of 3DSs in here.
We're gonna send the kids to college one day off this.
Yeah,
this is my inventory. story.
Or
Bro,
it's art.
I
It's
tried that
art.
with Pokemon cards. I was like, this is my retirement here, and she walked out of the damn apartment. Yeah. Quickly before we get off this, are there any games you're gonna rush to go get? I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go get 3DS version of Ruby and Sapphire for Pokemon. I'll probably get like some of those old Pokemon games. I think if I don't
Pokemon
already have
Crystal
them.
is one that I
Yeah.
would pick up.
Mhm.
Maybe some of the well, I guess a lot of the Zelda ones are still. I recently bought Ocarina of Time 3D, and that was still pretty affordable. Like,
Mhm.
so those kind of like the hallmark titles for that, I would make sure that I have those secured. Because I'm not one who like goes and plays more of the obscure games in like that sort of catalog. I typically want to go, okay, I'm the person typing in top 25, PS
Right.
Vita games
Yeah. Yep.
and playing those, and then I'm satisfied and I never touch it again. I'm not somebody who goes and plays the Battalion Wars on GameCube, right? I have a random copy of that in my closet that I'm trying to get rid of. So that's why it's on
You're
the
ready
brain.
to bust it out at a moment's notice.
Yeah,
Is this your sales pitch for that?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Kim, Greg, how about you? Any games you're gonna sweep up?
Hell no. I'm a Sega
No.
kid. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I got no.
I mean,
I don't have time to play
have
the new stuff.
everything I want.
Yeah.
I have everything I want. So
Yeah. I do think I'm curious to see, what this means for the future, and if if Greg's right and this is just a weird ass decision, or if we do finally start to see.
I'm interested to see if they back off it. Because that was the thing where PlayStation was met with such "don't do this" that they did, and like hats off to them. You can they listened, and that's great. And like now Nintendo is being met with the same thing. And so do you, as we said, show your hand and be like, we have a solution that again Nintendo's always been able to get away with it because of weird Nintendo decisions that no, we don't run online the same way. We're not trying to compete that way. Yada yada. It's like great, but now we're to this point that like everybody has these profiles in this history and this lineage with digital games. You have sold us digital games before. Why are we still buying the same digital games again?
Yeah, because they make Super Mario World just cheap enough where you're like, all right, 8th time's the charm. I'm sure I'll go to Rainbow Road this time. Alrighty, enough of this Nintendo garbage here. Let's get to the meat of what we all came here for. Topic of the week: Guerrilla Games' Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Zero Dawn. Very exciting for PlayStation fans. A lot of people, this is one of their big tentpole franchises when we haven't seen a ton of that on PS5 yet. Kim, you got to review the game for us as a huge Aloy fan, as a huge fan of the first game. What the hell did you think?
I thought it was pretty damn good. It's so hard sometimes with looking at these games because I think something like a sequel, like it improves upon a lot, like plenty of stuff from the first game, which I like. But then on top of it, like it does evolve and expand its scope to such a high level with the side quests. Like I felt like I was playing Witcher at some points where I'm just like, and how those side quests evolve within the world and what you do. There's a lot of cool things there. And then I think what I hear a lot of people say is like, well, it borrows too much from other franchises. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it makes for a fun open world to take some of the best and use like those features that have really become popular. Like my favorite part is like they put in your own home base. Like from like Mass Effect, I love that stuff. Getting to know the people who are around you better. Having Aloy even not be like, she's very imperfect in this game. And I think, she was imperfect last game, but I think to the degree that they tried to show some of her flaws more this time is refreshing. She is a hero, but she's also flawed, and you're going to have times where you're frustrated with her. There's just so much that I feel like this game does well with. The machine battles are still like, that's where it's at for me, was every time when you have the big battles and all that. But I think for me, it's really the world is the star of the show in this. And I was glued to my controller exploring that world and could not get enough, which I was so thank you, Sony, for giving us this game as early as possible to review, because
For real.
I would have cried if I had to miss some of the side quests that I like. It was getting to the point where I was just, oh man, I don't want to miss this, because sometimes once you do a side quest and go back into the world, the best part of it is you'll revisit the place and certain like characters will respond to things that you've done, or like the locale will change a little bit and you'll be like, damn, like, you know, I had an impact here. So there's a lot of cool things going on here, but you know, it does have some flaws. It's not perfect, but I think it is a fantastic sequel that fans are going to have a lot of fun with.
Have they how have they changed the traversal options in the game? I know that we have the paraglider now. Does that I think also doubles as the shield? I was on the Horizon Reddit just reading everybody's theories and stuff because I haven't played it. But one thing that I wanted more of in the first game was better traversal. Like I want to be able to climb things, or I want to, you know, paraglide, whatever. Has that? It seems like that's improved somewhat. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
I think being able to scan for climbing points, and I think they put way more climbing points in this one where there's
Yes, 100%.
multiple paths to everything,
Okay.
definitely helps, because even I was noticing there's always different ways to get around certain situations. And so with the shield wing, the glider, I liked it, but it's one of those things that feels very optional to, like, if you want to really use that to get, used it when I was on top of things and just wanted to get around to other places faster, but I didn't really use it and to avoid fall damage, obviously. I didn't really use it that much in battle to get away from things. I found it more to be like, you can invest in that and do what you want. The other thing is the pool caster, obviously, being able to climb to those points, and also use that for some of the minor like puzzles. There's a lot of they took should we joke with Uncharted with crates? There's a lot of crates you move in this too to try to solve puzzles. Like I said, took some things from other games, obviously, but I found traversal to be smoother and a lot better, but I know, you know, some people didn't love the pool caster where you can, you know, sometimes like you'll accidentally press a button and hold it down too long and hit the wrong point. Or
and what is that polecaster? Just
It's an ability. It's basically a grapple hook. You know,
Yeah.
to pull yourself up to
That's
different,
the word I was
different
looking
places.
for.
Yeah.
Thank you. My brain this morning.
I got you. Yeah, it's early. Yeah.
And
So
you
many
can
people
get-
want to jump to the glider to be like, oh yeah, it's like Breath of the Wild. I'm like, well, I also have the hook shot now, but yeah, no problem. Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't realize that.
I know where your brain's at though, Alex, and no, it's not Breath of the Wild. Climbing wise, paraglider wise,
Sure.
it is not. It's think
But
Kim's
more
right.
in that, I mean, I just wanted more in that direction where like, oh, I do want to climb over here and go check this out. And I felt like in the first game, I had to like, okay, well, let me figure out how to run around this rock and like find my way
that's
around.
gone. That's
Okay.
gone for sure. And,
Yeah.
and I
Cool.
think, you know, again, to Kim's point, the ability to scan and see the handholds, it's not climb anywhere you want, but there's usually a
Sure.
handhold somewhere you'd want to go. And
Okay.
so it is the idea that like in Horizon Zero Dawn, I remember a lot of times you're like, I want to climb up that and doing this weird like jump, like, like, you know, janking your way up like the geometry to get up there to do it. And you would do it eventually, but like this time they've been like, all right, we'll give you a couple paths to get up there so you can
Cool.
climb
Okay.
and feel like you're doing it.
Yeah.
Let alone the climbing puzzles that, you know, there are a lot of crates in them, but I don't think the crates are ever as like it's when it's like in Assassin's Creed where it's like, all right, I gotta bring the thing to there. All right, like you know what I mean? They are actually
they're
like,
very minor.
how do I get it from there to there? How do I make them work together? What do I do? Like I
Cool.
love the puzzles in this, and I love the way they also include the traversals in it of like,
Yes, exactly.
cool, climb up there to activate this or find that or do whatever. I exploring the world in this is amazing, both mechanically and then just as a gameplay thing. But I mean, in terms of like you're right now where we're talking with mechanics of it, like, yeah, I use the glider all the time, not in battle. But for me, battle is, I try to be stealth on everything. I
Yeah,
try to, you know, my Aloy is very much, you know, put all my points into the infiltrator tree. So I'm coming in silently. I'm, you know, striking from a distance. I can turn myself invisible, you know, and then like the glider is, jumping and gliding to different things. And it is going up high, finishing the thing, glide to the next thing. Like the game is incredible. Like I just find Horizon so amazing. You know, I came off Dying Light right into it. And so I did heartbreakingly, Kim, have to be the one who was like, I just got to main path it. I went and did some stuff here and there. If it was like right on the way, I would do it. But like I'm very much normally the gamer that is, let's do every side mission and then get back to the main point. Let's see, I'm all around this and then go to the thing.
I think for me it was I got surprised by how much after doing a few of the side quests add to the lore and the story of the different tribes. Because I will admit, like, story-wise, there's some stuff, some pacing issues, some things that are a little disjointed. But for me, doing the side quests, I felt like gave a lot of explanation to certain things that were missing and made it very, like, you'll be fine if you don't do every one of them or whatever. But I just, as somebody who enjoyed the lore and wanted to figure out kind of how some of these tribes came to be, what their values are, how they react in certain situations, I found it just adding a lot of like life to the settlements and knowledge that felt valuable. On top of like the side quests give you some of the best weapons in the game.
For sure.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's especially in the beginning, you should, and this is a quest I think shouldn't even almost be side quests, but it's like you meet these sisters, right, who've traveled to Chain Scrape.
I love them.
Yeah, they're fantastic, right? But you get my favorite weapon in the game so far in the javelin. And I'm sure you get it later on elsewhere, right? But like you get it right away if you do that quest. And I was like, oh, I totally could have missed this if it wasn't. But then I think that's smart design, right? Because that unlocks in my brain, especially after that first game where I was like, I don't need to do the side stuff. Like this isn't for me. And then in my head, it's like, okay, if I skip all these other ones now, am I missing other weapons that aren't going to be available on Gold Path or like that kind of stuff? You know what I mean? And I don't know. Yeah.
There's always reward for doing them. There's always reward, I feel, for exploring this world. And that's what they do so well. But you can still get by without doing them. I mean, like I said, it just depends on how much you want to get into the world and know every little tidbit. Like I was very interested in piecing certain parts together and learning more about characters. I understand a lot of people are going to just want to main path it, and like that's fine too. Like one thing Horizon Forbidden West does really well is like freedom of how you want to play, even within those skill trees and like your play styles and all that. Like the skill trees disappointed me a little bit. I thought they could have had a little more to them. And I went through them very fast, and I think it's because I did so many side quests and all that. But
this game is like a jackpot of skill points. Like when you're doing all the side quests, when you're clearing out a rebel base, you're getting XP, you're getting skill points. So yeah, you can start investing in whatever you want real quick and be that A-lord.
Yeah, I remember I was only on like the second or third story mission, and I already had like completed the stealth almost entirely and was on to my next skill tree. And so like I've unlocked a lot of almost like I've stuff in all of the skill trees, just because even stuff I wouldn't normally touch just because I had so many skill points to experiment. But I like that the game is like, if you're going to play this way or that way, like we're not going to punish you. There's always multiple ways to approach situations. I loved even like the different how they would throw you off sometimes with the different terrain and situations you were in. Either you're like in really close quarters and you're like, oh gosh, now I got these machines are coming at me hot. And then other situations where like there are a lot of rocky like environments, so you could hide behind a lot of different cover if you used it to your advantage. And even if you just look around sometimes in battle, you'll notice there's something to shoot down to like hit enemies
or to grapple hook up to
yes,
get, like,
exactly. I like that there's just so much at your disposal, and like sometimes I used everything that was there, and sometimes I was like, no, I'm just gonna go here and get what I need with a lot of stealth kills and see what to do. But I like that there is a lot of freedom for how you can play this game, and you're not gonna like lose or I think miss out on anything. I think it's like I said.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, to your thing of like, like how much there is and how much freedom you have. Like, I really feel like it's a game that is. And I know we talk about sandboxes all the time, but it's literally, what do you want to do today kind of game. On our review, I described it as the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, right? Where Star-Lord sits down and he's like, what do you guys want to do? Something good, something bad, a little bit of both. Like when I turn on Horizon, that's how I feel. Where it is like, do I want to go to a melee pit? Do I want to run a side mission? Like when you're at the workbench to figure out your next upgrade, you can make those as jobs. You can make multiple of those. So then it's like, do I just want to chase those down and go get this? Do I want to find that last hull neck? Do I want to explore? Like the game is a buffet of really great content of things for you to go out and actually do at your leisure and how you want to. And again, like to the skill trees, I I like them. I wouldn't say I was disappointed by them, but I see where you're coming from, Kim, especially in the way like how Valor surges work. This is like the big thing you're including there, which are like you have a meter there that when you activate them with your shoulder buttons, you can then do a very special move, which is when you use the invisibility. When I was using, more bow damage off of that. The thing about it though is the things that are surrounding them are just basically like stat buffs of like, all right, cool, like, more concentration, more of that. And so once I got into, okay, cool, I'm infiltrator and I'm using my arrows a lot, so I'll go into the hunter tree. I was only alternating it between either the one that turned me invisible or the one that amplified my arrow damage. So suddenly all those other Valor surges there kind of didn't make sense to me. They didn't matter.
Yeah.
For me, it was the radial blast, and once
that electricity one.
Yeah, once I fully upgraded that, I didn't want to touch any of the other Valor surges. And, even looking at the different upgrades, I was just like, it became a problem because at points, I would have 11 skill points and just keep playing, not even feel like I needed to put it into anything just because, and like I said, as Greg pointed out, the other thing is the stuff surrounding them are very, they're just small perks, like putting a trap down faster, more potent potions. Those things are great and everything. I just wanted to feel more of a growing sense of power, but I just felt ultimately powerful at all points in time.
About it, right, is when you're like, okay, cool, yeah, more traps or whatever. I, at that point, had been so focused on infiltrator and arrows that, I'm not even using traps. Traps aren't that's a very specific play style, I feel like, or something you'd put into your repertoire, which I think is awesome that everybody can talk about how they play at Horizon and have a little bit of a different vibe to it. But for me, I'm right there with you, where I'd go in there, I have 14 skill points. All right, well, I'll go and look and do any of these give me more health? You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, I do this, I can activate. All right, fine, I'll do that and activate that out and be done with it. But it reminded me in a way of I feel Assassin's Creed Valhalla has that insanity skill tree that just branches out a star map. But shut up, Siri. Oh, it's about Wikipedia insanity. It has this thing, and you get in there, and it was always that idea of okay, this is way too much, but I can see that I'm putting it into health, or I know that I'm going off the bear tree. So if I go find red, that'll benefit my playstyle. But once my playstyle was set and established and done, it was kind of okay, well, here's a buff for a trap or a potion I never use. I just don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They still haven't nailed the skill tree, but it is I think overall is very much an improvement over that first game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. We touched on story a little bit. I don't want to dive. No spoilers, right? But Horizon to me is so fascinating because there are very few games where I've had a relationship with the story that I do in this, and in one breath, because I just finished and I just started and finished Horizon Zero Dawn couple weeks before this, right? Wow. So it's the story was pretty fresh in my head. I've never had a game where it's the main story, right? The modern day with Aloy and Aaron and Varl, right? Is it's good, it's I'm into it, right? But I am so fascinated with the lore behind it, right? Where I like what's going on, and I think it's getting better in Forbidden West. I'm not through it yet, so it's I'm only 15, 16 hours in. But it's I'm still okay, I need to get to this next point because I want to find out what happened with Ted Faro and Elizabeth, right?
Ted Faro.
He's just
so dumb. Worse.
Yeah.
So worse.
Yeah. And I like Aloy as a character, and I like Varl, and I if I had a goofy facial hair situation, I'd be Aaron in real life. So shout out to my boy. Yeah, which is both good and bad. But I don't know, do you, as people who have beat it, Greg, and we can start with you, did you enjoy where the story went? Did you feel like it was an improvement over the first one? I guess I don't know what your thoughts are on that first one.
For sure. Well, I love Zero Dawn, and for me, I mean, as a synopsis at the top, right? I think Forbidden West is head and shoulders a better game than Zero Dawn. I think it improves. I'm shocked that it was able to improve on everything from it and be a better game. Not that I thought that would be a problem, but there was that concern of when they announced it and they showed it. I was very much awesome. It looks like more Zero Dawn. And Alex, I was more like you of for Zero Dawn, I was very much on the go when I got back on Golden Path after going around, dicking around on all the side missions. When I got back on Golden Path, I was oh, this is interesting. But what I'm interested in isn't so much what Aloy's doing, but what happened to the world before it. And so when you get there and you get to the end, I felt accomplished, I felt good, and that was great. So for me, and I'm not one of those people who you got to play it this long till it gets good, because Horizon Forbidden West is good from the start, period. Great from the start. But the first 10 hours of this were a lot of me going, okay, cool. It's more Zero Dawn. Like, I enjoy this world. This is fun enough, but like, okay. Like, I'm in and I like it. And I like, oh, I'm seeing people I remember from the Forge and from before, and that's neat. All right, whatever. And then I really do feel like the game has a Breath of the Wild get off the plateau moment where it was suddenly, all right, now go into the Forbidden West. You are on your way for this story. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, what is this? And I felt then it really gets going, and it made me care. And this is a contemporary story. There still is obviously what came before it, but I think the contemporary story here, what's happening in the present, is more interesting than what happened before. Even though what happened before is very interesting and I'm into it, I was looking for answers for what was happening for Aloy in the present moment.
It's funny you bring that up because I'm literally at that plateau right now. That's one of like the last things I saw was, you know, Varl and Zoe like looking out. So I'm curious if my opinion changes as I get, you know, further and further in. But Kim, how's the story landing for you?
I thought that, you know, Zero Dawn, as we talked about, had like that intrigue of what the heck happened here, what is going on. And now that was all established, the writers were free to dive into more of the sci-fi elements and go there with more of the world, but also like make these characters have a bigger place in the story, and even Aloy kind of making her more than just like, all right, she's this hero. Okay, what's her place here? I liked that they explored more of her flaws, and for me, the sci-fi parts were actually the things that really I found the most intriguing. I was like, what is going on here? I have to figure out what the heck, where this is all leading and where it takes me. I think, like I said, some of the stuff feels, once you reach that moment too, some of the stuff does feel a little rushed. Like I wish we had more time with like Regalia is like a cool antagonist, but I feel like her stuff is just like, it's brought up as this big plot thing, and then kind of like, oh, is this okay? Is that it?
It's that traditional thing of like when they announced the voice cast and they're like, Regalia is played by Angela Bassett. I was like, oh my God, all right, I'm excited for this. But it's always that thing when a video game puts a celebrity in the game. Like, and I mean, like, you know, a movie star celebrity in the game. It is that like, so are you in the game or are you making an appearance kind of thing, right? Like when Cyberpunk showed Keanu so long ago and people were like, so is he a quest? And they were like, no, he's the entire game. Like, really? Like it's that. And I agree with everything Kim said. Like Regalia is such a cool character, right? And I like where her story goes, but it is like very much like, okay, you did this in probably like a day and a half. Like that's how much Angela Bassett was in the VO booth for this.
Yeah, like they said, there's certain things. And I loved, like I said, my favorite thing was just listening to some of the dialogue and banter at the base. I felt like the dialogue was very well done, which made me want to have more time with those characters and even maybe more quests tied to them.
Kim, you are speaking the truth right now. I'm the same way. I would walk into the base and you would have these characters that are like your team talking to each other and having little things. And I would just stand there because like it was just their ambient dialogue of them having a conversation about something they had learned. And I was like, yes. But then I feel like the game never has that Mass Effect 2 loyalty mission payoff.
Exactly.
Where it's like, that's what I was looking for of like, let's go, let's do the thing, blah, blah. And so even like, you know, before, you know, your big mission or whatever it'll be, like there is the normal video game thing of like, all right, we can go, but you should probably check in with the team first. And I was like, you know, and it comes up as optional. I'm like, of course I'm going to do that. And I went to like 2 of them and I was like, all right, none of you are saying anything important. Let's go do the thing.
I wanted more payoff there. And also I felt like, despite them giving you more time with these characters, I didn't feel the emotional pull necessarily for them that I would have wanted, like I did with like a game like, you know, Mass Effect, where it's like, oh my God, you know, if that character, I have to like protect that character at all costs. Or I really got to help them on this mission. But I will say, like, the stuff is good and there's like a lot of potential there. It's not that the characters are boring or anything.
Oh, not at all.
They're actually like, I love Kotalo's backstory in particular, and I think there's stuff there. But yeah, I feel like they started to go into that direction of building more with the characters and not just having this be Aloy's story, but giving her an ensemble, because like I said, last game was all her very solitary, reacting to the world, talk to a few people here and there,
Yeah.
meet this person, and this is very much like we're building to go on a mission together, and we're building up this base, this family almost, you know, and
That I'm with you. I feel like that's one of my downsides to this game that I recommend to everybody that I think is amazing. But it is the fact that it doesn't hit the heights of other games we've seen do this kind of stuff, where it doesn't hit the Mass Effect 2 heights of making me care about the team that way. There was like one thing that happened, and I immediately texted Blessing. I was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "I know, right?" And it was like that. But like otherwise, it was just their lives are happening, and that's going on. And then it's also, Kim, you talked about Aloy not being a perfect character, which I agree the game shows, but I don't think they ever go into that the way I wish they did. Like, I really wish that like she's presented, no spoilers, with some very interesting conundrums in her life here, and also some great chances to really have that thing of like, here's me establishing why I'm the way I am, and this is, and they I feel like neither of them are home runs. They're all like base hits. They're all like, and I don't even like baseball. I don't know why I'm making these baseball references.
No,
But they're like,
yeah, I agree with you there. Like I think that's my main problem with the story is like it's not bad, and like I said, none of these, like even the characters, I found them interesting and like, but they are base hits. I think is a good way to put it. Not a home run, but like yes, I think that they definitely have room for improvement there. But
and then while we're in the story, this isn't a spoiler, I don't think, for anybody, because obviously whatever. But like, I don't love the way this one ends. It is like I feel rushed at the ending, and then it's very clearly like, okay, well, there was a rumor a long time ago this was going to be a trilogy, and clearly at least you want to do another game really badly because you're shoving this in at the end, but you didn't need to do that. Like the Horizon Zero Dawn ends in such a great way. Credits, then silence, right, with Hades, and you're like, oh my god, what a cool way to do this. Whereas this one's much more like, we're done, but are we? I don't know. Like, well, all right.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Okay, well, is there any other points we want to hit on before we move over to the playlist? I think this was a great discussion, pretty thorough. But Greg, any parting thoughts?
I mean, I feel like whenever when I've been talking about this game on shows, I end up nitpicking it along with other people. But it's what Kim said, right? Where it's like, it's not perfect, but it's so good. And I think that the fact that we care so much about it, and again, like, check all of the story stuff I've said at the door. Like, playing Horizon Forbidden West is amazing. Like, it's still that the game. My playlist is Horizon Forbidden West because even though I'm done with the story and everything else, I keep coming back because I want to platinum it, and I just want to live in this world longer and do more of the quests. And that's because the moment-to-moment gameplay is so good. The side quests, are great from a narrative thing, but they're also amazing in the way that you head out, and it sounds like it's going to be a very simple thing of go help this person and defeat the machines that have pinned down their sister. No problem. But then you get there, and then there's another thing, and suddenly you're in a giant boss battle, and I come back to the base or to the camp to drop the people, and I have like no equipment, I'm out of arrows, and I'm like, that was an awesome fight. It felt, even though this is after I've rolled credits, I'm already this apex hunter, I felt challenged by that, and I loved it.
Yeah. Kim, how about you?
No, like I agree exactly what Greg was just saying, is like that world and being in it and the loop. It's just a fun game to play and a fun world to be in. And I think at the end of the day, like, that won me over. That kept me glued to my controller, and I love seeing where certain things and threads would go, and just exploring and finding stuff. And I think that for me, that makes a good like open world game.
For sure.
And I don't think people are going to be disappointed. I think people are really going to enjoy it, and there is a lot here to love. So, like I said, not without flaws, but pretty damn good, and definitely mark a huge improvement over that first game. I feel like that first game was just their core, and then they're able, and hey, if they do that third one that they are heavily hinting at, I think that will be interesting to see where they can go next and how they can really expand. God, I can't even imagine. I'm excited though to think of the future.
For sure.
I think for me, as someone who wasn't Zero Dawn's biggest fan until it finally clicked, I was anxious to see how are they going to get me into this game? What's going to be those threads that they pull on, right? And they absolutely nailed the beginning part of this compared to the first game to me, right? I also think it was great that I did get to play through Zero Dawn. So if you're on the fence, I would encourage you to go play that first, because I kind of had a similar experience with Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2 last year, where it's like I played Psychonauts for the first time 2 months before the game came out. So and Psychonauts 2, one of my favorite games last year, right? I got to really feel how they improved this formula, right? And it is evident from the first machine you take on, like how improved combat is. The world is so much more interesting, in my opinion, and I actually want to explore the side stuff instead of mainline, like I did in Zero Dawn. So I'm loving it. I'm going to keep going in it. I think, if you're coming to this going like, this is what I want next in open worlds, I don't know if you're going to get that, right? Like even looking at the PlayStation like section of games, right? I think Ghost of Tsushima maybe has a better open world like experience. But like I said, I'm still 15 hours in, so I'm giving it time, right? And I think it just fills it more interestingly, like you guys said, and I'm excited to play more. So, Kim, what did you give Horizon Forbidden West?
9.25, baby.
There you go. And Greg, you guys adapted a scoring system of your own, correct?
Yeah, finally. We 7 years ago we started Kind of Funny, and we were like, we don't need scores. We'll just talk about games, and then that's evolved into inevitably being, I could see this getting a set, whatever the hell. You just sit there and talk about scores or whatever. So we finally bit the bullet and did a 5-point scale, just to more assign words to it. So yeah, this got our highest rating of a 5, which is amazing. Which is a 5 out of 5, amazing. Yeah, which of course doesn't mean it's perfect. We're not saying masterpiece, yada yada yada. We're just saying that this game's awesome and you should go play it.
Yeah. For sure. Cool. Well, go check out the Games Cast for Kind of Funny this week. Go check out Kim's review. And then go check out our YouTube page where we have the video review. We may have some other videos coming soon. So be sure to check that out. So we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Welcome back to the GI Show. We're going to get into the playlist here, the segment, you know it, you love it. We're going to talk about the games we're playing because, it's February and God, there's a lot. There's a lot going on and games that I did not expect to be spending a lot of time in. But Alex, we can kick things off with you. What have you been playing, my guy?
Yeah, so with all of the latest release, we got Horizon, Elden Ring, just coming off of Dying Light 2, I figured, why not go back and play some more League of Legends? Because
I'm a sicko.
I am a sicko. That game has just become, I didn't pick that game up until 2020. That game's been out for like a decade, and I didn't start playing until the pandemic. There's like this weird, like competitive, but chilled. I don't know. It's like one of the most competitive games in the world. Like there's an entire.
You are a mystery of a man, Alex. Because you talk about these things sometimes. Where I was like, oh, he's been playing League since like he crawled out of the womb. And it's like, nah, dude, it's only been like 6 months. Like,
okay, it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, but still, like, wait. Yeah,
listen, when I love hard. I fall quickly.
That's true.
And that's what I did for League of Legends.
I appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That game is so weird because it literally spawned an entire esports industry around MOBAs. Like, wild. There's such a high skill ceiling, and I've probably put at this point 150 hours, 200 hours into this game, and I'm still so bad. And I think that's what makes me want to keep coming back to it, because there are always new strategies, there are always new, improvements that I can, make to increase my skill at the game. And so there's like this really high skill ceiling, but also like I'm just sitting back, and for audio listeners, like lean back, just chilled out, clicking away on my mouse. Like there's this chilled factor to it at the same time, even though like I'm getting cussed out by a 12-year-old in the chat. Like it is a weird experience.
/mute, right? You don't have to deal with that anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that. I actually checked out the competitor Dota 2 because a buddy of mine plays a lot of that, and I've just kind of been in like this weird MOBA space lately. But also very quickly, I have been playing more Lost Ark. Really enjoyed it. I started a second character. My first character was the Berserker. Really enjoyed that. But my friend was like, "Hey, come to my server and play with me some." And I was like, "Okay, I'll make a second character." So I picked up Paladin, and I think the Paladin in Lost Ark is actually my favorite iteration of a Paladin in MMOs so far.
Wow.
As far as like their archetype, they're traditionally like mostly like hybrid healer / damage. In Lost Ark, they very much lean damage. I don't think you get a healing spell until like level 20 or 30. And it's been really cool to see their take on some of these classic classes. And I feel like the Paladin is more of like almost like a battle mage in this game, and I really love the animations, and that game just has its hooks in me. I know, Alex, you've also been playing it. It's it's free. It's there. Like people are playing it, and it's
What a ringing endorsement! It's free. It's there.
I mean, hey,
What
why
else are you
not?
gonna do? Read a book?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Play more League?
Yeah,
No.
nerd. Yeah.
So it's not
I-
like it's not WoW levels of hook. Like it hasn't
No.
hooked me to that, but I'm like, okay, I'm like gonna log in and play a few hours a week, and see what happens.
Well, and we've gotten reports from one Dan Tack and John Carson that the end game and this is really good. So now it's like, do I want to
Yeah.
put the time in and stuff like that? Because
Yeah, push.
yeah. Well, I with what time? I asked you with what time.
I know.
But that's the thing. This is if you follow the show, I'm not an MMO guy. Like Old Republic and WoW, like Burning Crusade, or like that's it for me.
And you played 6 hours of each.
Yeah, right. So it's like, no, I did get my my Blood Elf Hunter to like 34. So basically,
okay,
6 hours. So,
that's an investment.
yeah, Tack makes fun of me for that, but so I try to keep that in. But it is Lost Ark is. The story doesn't make any sense. It's the voice acting is not good, but I can't get enough of that combat. And I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but it is so Diablo-esque, and it is so satisfying. The amount of creatures they put on screen, and you're like, this is nothing, and just absolutely wipe them out. And I like the mini set pieces. There is an attention to detail in that I really appreciate, and it is just fun. Like we were in the Discord just like chopping it up with some friends, and I was just just running show on the denizens of this world. And I still think it is overwhelming, just like with the different there's so many menus you have to pay
if you
attention
play this
to,
game,
but,
skip every cutscene, like
For
every
real.
cutscene you can.
yeah
It doesn't matter. Don't pay attention to any of the currencies they put in your bag, because if you got the founders pack or whatever, they just throw everything at you. Ignore all of that until like the end game. You will know what it means when you're 50 hours in. But if you don't like the gameplay, like just get the gameplay. Do you like it? Yes, no. Okay, you like it? Keep playing. No, go play something else.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. It's like
Yeah.
you're either just don't play the story, dude. It's so bad.
Yeah. But I think that's an endorsement, right? Of like, because I am a console boy, like through and through, right? But I think because that combat's so good, I want to keep coming back to it, even though there's things I don't like about the game or don't understand about it yet. So
yeah,
I do think this is a good, especially with it just sitting there being free to play. I do think that this is a really good one. If you're like me, it's like, okay, I really love Diablo. Diablo 2 Immortal didn't really do it for me because of some of those antiquated systems and that. So it's like, okay, what's next? And I do think Lost Ark is a good answer to that. So I'm excited to keep playing it. I think that's gonna keep me, at least till like May, right? Just get a taste of what that actual end game is, and then see if I continue to come back. So exciting stuff. Kim, you are playing something that you'd like to talk about, right?
Oh, I got to recently play some Rune Factory 5 for about 2 hours for preview. And you know what? I like the past Rune Factory games. For those who don't know, it's the old Harvest Moon series, which is now Story of Seasons, kind of like that farming focus, but an action RPG combined with it, where you go and you fight monsters and you upgrade your gear and you upgrade weapons and you craft and you find stuff. And so you're trying to figure out, obviously, the mystery of what's going on with this world. What's really cool is, yes, I got you'll get certain characters, like these big creatures, and they're islands, and you can kind of go to them and plant certain crops on them and stuff. And so it's just a combining of that farming gameplay with, like exploring dungeons, RPG elements, romance options. So this is a Switch exclusive. And the series for the past few years has been on handheld, with Rune Factory 4 being the last one, obviously, but that was 3DS, right? 3DS. And so it's been a while since we've had a new entry. So I'm excited for it. It does, playing through it, have some technical issues so far, which I hope get, figured out, because...
When's it coming out?
End of March, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so soon.
Yeah. But
Hi, Jen.
there's some frame rate issues, and also some stuttering. I played it docked and I played it undocked, and I say go handheld. It plays much better in that
Okay.
regard. It looks better on that.
I guess
but-
I didn't realize. I don't pay attention to Rune Factory.
March 22nd is when it comes out.
March 22nd. I didn't realize it was a farming sim.
Yeah.
The name does not give me that. I'll just say that.
It's cool because you
What do you
spent...
off the name? What do you think Rune? What do you think Rune was going to be?
I'm thinking like Dead Cells or something.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Dead
See,
Cells.
I would
with
have
anime
gone like a
people.
Bejeweled or Puzzle Quest. I mean, I think the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time I ever heard it, the first I've heard it, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you spend your like mornings tending to your farm, and then you go out and you go to the forests and find the dungeons, and you can
Is
also
there a
tame,
factory in the
you
game?
can tame monsters to battle with you by your side,
Ooh,
and also you
okay.
can bring villagers with you into battle, and they'll give you like some special attacks. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. You know, it's a lower budget game, obviously,
Sure.
so keep that in mind. Like, I was a little disappointed by some of the voice mixing on it. Just like had to adjust the volumes in certain spots. But you know, for fans who want like a big game and love, you know, farming sims, and then also, you know, that RPG lifestyle, there you go. It's Rune Factory 5.
I'm looking at screenshot. It seems like my kind of game. I think I would enjoy this.
Yeah,
Sounds
especially
good.
on Switch, that feels like it's a good.
It's a good Switch game. I was playing it actually before bed last night. I'm like, this is a good game just as you're like ready to go to bed. Do some farming, fight a few new monsters, make some
Sweet.
friends, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. And you bring up too, like it's better on handheld than monitor. I feel like almost every game is that point, or we're almost to
Switch.
that point on Switch, especially with the OLED too. It's like I played Arceus almost exclusively on handheld after I got like the capture footage and stuff. So I feel like that's more of the trend now. But so you're excited for what did you say, March 22nd?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
I'm excited to play more. Like I said, I'm very early, so some of the systems haven't really opened up yet. You know, because there's a lot, it looks like, with the crafting and the different, like I said, monsters you can befriend, but like there's always like a cool big boss battle at the end of each thing, and there's really unique designs for the monsters, so those are always really fun. So yeah, I'm having a good time with it. But
Cool.
Time will tell how it shakes out.
Yeah.
Sweet.
For sure. Cool. Quickly, speaking of Switch games, I have been playing OlliOlli World, which, oh my God, I did not expect to love this game. Like not in a bad way, right? You know, I'm not a huge skateboarding game fan, as if anyone saw my appearance doing Skate 2 on replay, you'll know that I'm usually quite terrible at them.
You're a poser.
Yeah. I'm a culture vulture in that way, I suppose. I had heard about it. I'd like the style, right? I was like, oh, this is gonna be whatever. And then the reviews came out, and Blake was really high on it. And if you don't know Blake, you know, he doesn't usually get super high on a ton of games. And you know, everywhere else was really excited for it. And I was like, okay, now that I've beaten Pokemon Legends, I want something on Switch to kind of go to bed with, like Kim was saying. And OlliOlli World has been perfect for that. If you don't know, it is the beautiful like Cartoon Network art style, right, where you are in this world and you're looking for Nirvana, and there's just the skating puns in this are just chef's kiss. But and it segments it, right. There's each level, and you have to get, the higher you score, the more unlocks are available to you, and they're all like cosmetic, and it's been so fun building out my character, finding the look for him, but also the mechanics feel so good. You know, and it's one of those things where it is very simple to pick up, hard to master, right? Because almost all your tricks are on the left stick, and then you start to add grabs, manuals, that kind of stuff too. But once you get in a rhythm similar to like a Tony Hawk, the flow of it is just so perfect. And then they add in these other objectives where you're like, you know, like hit 8 geese on your way down, or like grind like 8 rails, and like, or find this mystery character and stuff. And it's just been a very rewarding, engaging experience, because even when I don't hit like the highest score, right, it's like, okay, I know I missed the rail here, I can go back and I can hit this, and it's so quick. It's like pick and pop that you can do 3 or 4 levels in like 5-10 minutes or whatever and feel satisfied. So it has been, I've put a lot of time in while, you know, my fiance has somebody feed Phil on or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just been, which if y'all, if you need happiness in your life, you need any dopamine, go watch somebody feed Phil. It's a beautiful show. But I can't recommend it enough. I'm really enjoying my time with it. And I think it's going to be easy to get swept up in the release season that it is, but it's definitely one that I want to bring up, especially towards the end of the year.
It reminds me of a more in-depth, like Tony Hawk fused with Alto's Adventure or Alto's Odyssey, which are great mobile games that are like ski based, and it's if
the
you
llama
play
one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember those came to a PlayStation too, so they're not even limited just to mobile anymore. I'm sure they're everywhere, but I played them on PlayStation.
Yeah, and it was very much like if you hit an obstacle, it restarts you, teleports you back to the checkpoint. You just like you're in this loop until you like perfect the run, and when you do, it's great. But then you add tricks and all that on top of this, and it's an awesome formula. I'm excited to keep playing.
Yeah, definitely. So if you haven't, go check it out. It looks really good on the OLED Switch. I haven't had any tech problems, though it feels like some of the cutscenes run at less than 30, but that's okay because story doesn't matter in this. If you want good skateboarding puns, they're there, but you can just focus on creating your character and shredding, as the kids say.
Yes.
So let's take a break. I'm getting word from our producers that the halftime show is ready. We're very excited to present it to you. And take it away, Kendrick Lamar?
Eminem.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, dude?
Welcome back to the GI show. What a halftime performance. Unfortunately, I'm getting word that GI is getting canceled for initiating sexual anarchy. So we apologize for that. You know,
what did I miss at the Super Bowl?
Sexual anarchy.
Yeah.
All right.
I was
at a nice dinner. No sexual anarchy, but really great entrees.
Doesn't sound like a great dinner then.
Yeah. It's our brand here at GI, sexual anarchy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Alex, hit us with that sweet housekeeping.
Announcements, news, everything you know about the world of GI. Real quick, we always start off housekeeping with a new podcast review. Shout out to TDWP on Apple Podcasts, gave us a 5-star review saying the Game Informer podcast is easily one of the best, most entertaining and informative podcasts in its space. I've been listening for years, and every week it's a delight to see a new episode has posted. The hosts and guests on the show are fun, relatable, opinionated in the best ways, and their chemistry is a joy to listen to. The shows frequently have in-depth conversations about upcoming games, which make for a compelling listen when you're anticipating a new game release. The show has continued to be strong since it's changed hands, and I very much enjoy its current iteration. I love the show and refuse to miss an episode. TDWP, thank you so much for taking the time to leave us that review. Of course, if you go out there, you take the 5 minutes to do it, we want to say thank you and read it off. Of course, leave an honest review. There's certainly many of you that have done that before in the past, and hey, we've read them off in the past. We love constructive feedback, any positive criticism, whatever. But yeah, just go leave a review. That really helps us out on Apple Podcasts. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a rating. And if you are one of those people that do that, thank you. Appreciate you.
Is it still mobile only?
I think so on Spotify. Yeah, I think it's still mobile only.
What a weird thing.
Yeah.
Right? I don't understand. Yeah.
I don't get it. Weekly streams. Thursday, we're going to be streaming Horizon Forbidden West, 2 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/Game Informer. We got Super Replay continuing on Friday. I think Marcus and company are close to beating Jedi Fallen Order on stream. So this might be the one.
Very close.
Yeah, they might beat it this week. But go check that out again, 2 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/Game Informer. And then Monday, Multiplayer Monday is our new kind of streaming sub-series that Alex and I help run. And that's Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Central. And don't know what we're going to play this week, but I'm sure something will come up. And we've got a lot of Discord polls going on. People want to see us play certain stuff. So this might be a great week to play some of those titles.
Maybe we finally do Deep Rock Galactic, even though
I've been wanting to.
Literally weeks old. Yeah.
Fun game. We did that. We did that on stream after it dropped on PlayStation Plus. Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it.
Hell yeah. Very quickly, notable YouTube videos. Alex, you checked out the new Cyberpunk update on Xbox Series X. We've got gameplay of that and in NGT format over on the YouTube channel. Tom Holland interview. Brian Chase sat down with Tom Holland for Very quick interview, but if you're interested
They're
in
best
that,
friends now. Yeah.
yeah, they are. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's coming to the next GI barbecue, so that'll
Oh,
be
I was
exciting.
gonna say, please don't say show. I know we can't get him for the show. Yeah.
But we've got a lot of stuff, game reviews. Obviously, there are big games coming
Tis
in the next
season.
couple of weeks. You can likely expect content over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameInformer. Lastly, check out all of our podcasts. Video Gameography, it's our video game history podcast. If you enjoyed Greg on this show, go listen to whenever his episode drops.
I think it's
on the
next
video-
week.
next week, cool. There you go.
Yeah.
Uncharted 3. All Things Nintendo is our weekly Nintendo podcast. And then from panel to podcast is our very own editor-in-chief, Andrew Reiner's new comic book podcast. So go check that out as well. Follow everybody here on social media. Follow Greg Miller at GameOverGreggy. Follow Mr. Alex Stadnik at Stadnik76. Kim is at KStar1785. And you can follow me at It's Van Aken. Alex, I'm finally done with housekeeping. I'm sorry it took so long.
You got through that really cool. What are you talking
Yeah,
about? You
you
did that
got
You
great.
did a great job. There's a lot of information packed in there. You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm improving.
Look at this, man.
Listener emails. It's time.
Listener emails. Let's get it popping. This is the best part of the show where you, the listener, the viewer, can write in, let us know what to talk about. Hopes, dreams, nightmares. Haven't got any nightmares, which I'm happy y'all are sleeping pretty well, so that's good. You can send those in at podcast@gameinformer.com. I read them. I take them in. I think to myself, hey, this is a great email. Or like, oh, well, maybe they should try next time, So
Try harder.
yeah. We haven't got any games in a while that we've done, so you should send those in. So the other way to get in contact with us, Alex Van Aken, how the heck do they get into our Discord?
So if you want to join our community Discord, it's a great place to be. It's safe, friendly. We do have it walled off. You have to subscribe on Twitch one time via Twitch Prime or Tier 1 sub, whatever, and you'll get access to the Discord. If you've done that, go to the Discord app. Make sure your Twitch is linked under the integrations tab, and then our server should appear there, and you come hang out. The whole GI staff is there. We got our lovely mods there, and a few hundred people from the community that love chatting about games, comics, all that stuff. And there is a Game Informer Show channel on there where you can ask questions for the show.
Yeah, they don't even have to be for the show too. We can chop it up.
Yeah, we can just talk.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can hear Dan Tack rambling about cheese falling off the bone and teasing things that he's working on. He's a bizarre man. Yeah. We love him, but
he's definitely bizarre.
Alrighty, let's get it going here. We have a lovely crop of questions from the Discord today. First one from Darth Stridius, and Darth writes in and says, if you had to create the Suicide Squad out of video game characters, which game character would you make up the team? Greg, I think this is a topic born for you.
Sure. Well, then, as with any hypothetical question, I have a million questions to the question.
Of course.
So, are we sending them on a suicide mission? Am I making an all-star team of video game characters to carry out missions, or is this like I need the worst of the worst and I need them to be expendable?
I think I like the idea of expendable, like in the
Ooh.
spirit of what the Suicide Squad is, just the degenerates.
I have the perfect character.
Oh, go for it then. You start.
Tingle. Send that man to die.
Tingle can't get anything done.
Look at that. Tingle.
Listen, we need an excuse to finally get rid of him. Yeah, Tingle, go help the team out, buddy. Go on, send him in first. Get rid of that bastard. That small green bastard. Get rid of him finally.
Is bastard on the bleep list? Do I have to take
No,
out
it's
bastard?
not.
Okay,
We're
good.
allowed-
You're like, I did this on purpose. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
See, so for them to be expendable, right?
Mhm.
And I think eliminates so many interesting choices, right? Because if you're doing the Justice League, obviously Nathan Drake, Master Chief, put that kind of stuff out there.
Yeah.
So I have two picks that immediately jump, but I'll only give you. I'll put them up, but I'll tell you who I'm going with. The first one, who's the honorable mention, was Zeke from Infamous. Just Cole's right hand man, a character I love a lot. He gets things done. He's just a human being, but he's always there to help. He's always there to risk his life. If he died, I don't think many people would cry for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my real choice is Lady Masako from Ghost of Tsushima. Right, not Jin Sakai, not Jin, who is the main character and going to carry the franchise. Lady Masako, who was like kind of wanted to die, if you remember, right? Her family was already gone; she had nothing left to lose, kind of, and she was awesome. Sorry, there you have to bleep that. But it is that idea of like, I think she'd be a great one in there because she just doesn't care, and that means that she'll live. She'll continue to live on, but I think she'd be great.
She'll be pissed about it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Kim, do you have an entry here?
I do. not that I want anything to happen to this person, but Ace Attorney Larry Butts would be good because he would get himself in this situation without even realizing it, and he would screw everything up along the way, and there would just be so many funny moments. So I think I would go with him.
Okay, I like that. See,
Good pick.
Alex took my thunder a little bit because I was also thinking of the Weasel character, right?
Yeah.
Now, who I could like send onto the beach and get him absolutely mowed down while I'm working in the shadows, right? And Leisure Suit Larry was like my first pick on that. Just blow that man away. I think Colt Vaughn from Deathloop fits in here nice. He's got the attitude, right? He's got the quips, right? But he could take down basically anyone. And
he's got,
if he dies, he just comes back the next day. So it's like, all right,
smart.
we lost Colt, whatever. He'll come back tomorrow. Like it'll be fine. He'll be back. So
I do have one final submission, Alex, that I think we can all agree on.
Okay.
If you've played the game, Death's Door, the Gravedigger.
Okay. I was hoping you'd say Pothead, but yeah.
Yeah, Pothead. The Gravedigger and Death's Door, there's that whole arc where you can't kill him. Like he's just, and he's also cool with dying if you do finally kill him. True. I feel like that's the kind of energy, kind of the character Lady Masako that Greg was talking about. That's kind of similar energy. Like I'm okay with dying, but it's going to take a lot to kill me. You know what I mean? That's the kind of person we need on this Suicide Squad.
Okay.
I feel like when you really start delving into the question, there's so many like PS3 era characters you could toss out there of like Jet Brody from Fracture, whoever the guy was in Dark Void, that Nolan North voice that wasn't Nathan Drake, and he was like clearly trying to be Nathan Drake. What was the one? Matt Hazard, the one that Will Arnett did, that was like he knew he was in a video game, fourth wall breaking Deadpool guy. Like put all them in there. Nobody cares how many of them die.
Yeah. Wow, you brought up games that I haven't thought of in probably 15 years. Like that's nutty.
It's my
The
skill.
protagonist from Time Splitters 2.
I can't remember off the top of my head like the release date of the PlayStation 4, but I can talk to you about Mad Fraction. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So what? So our squad is made up of Tingle, Colts. Would you say Zeke from Infamous?
Put him on there, sure.
Okay,
Lady Masako.
Lady Masako. Sure. Yeah. Kim,
Larry Butts.
Larry Butts. This is the ultimate killing machine here, and I'm here for it. So there you go. What a bizarre cast of characters.
Throw bodies at the problem.
Yeah. So Darth, thank you for the question there. So Jew Donk Donk from Discord says, it's really cold outside today, and I wish I was in a tropical paradise. What is the best vacation location in gaming? That's a good one. As I'm staring out of the frigid wastelands of Minnesota right now.
Hey, it's a warm day today.
It is. It was really nice. Any thoughts here?
I mean, it's got to be Delfino Island, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Right? That always Mario Sunshine, not my favorite Mario game, but what a lovely place to hang out. You know what I mean? And it seems like a cool place to kick back and not have a care in the world.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's happy, you know. What do you
Tour Timers Island and Animal Crossing, where you had to have the GBA adapter to access the island. You would go fishing with your friends. Great spot. Really, any Animal Crossing setting would be really great.
Yeah. Kim, how about you?
Final Fantasy X, Xanacard or Xanacard. Oh my god, I can't pronounce it.
Is that the beach?
Yeah, but like I want to play Blitzball, on the beach, all that fun stuff.
Isn't there a cruise ship in that?
There we go. Bah.
Is there a cruise ship in that game, or am I misremembering?
Cruise ship?
Yeah, where they play Blitzball on the cruise ship.
Oh.
No, I must be thinking of something completely different.
I mean, they play Blitzball in weird places, but
they play Blitzball everywhere.
Yeah, Blitzball cannot be denied, but yeah, there's a lot of I think you're thinking of the arena, but with the water and everything.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that place would be fun to visit.
Yeah,
the sin will be gone when you visit there.
There you go. Yeah, I'm surprised, Kim. I'm surprised you didn't say Destiny Islands from Kingdom Hearts. Perfect vacation spot, get to stay in just chill on the beach,
Yeah, it's small, but I feel like Final Fantasy X, it does it better because it has Blitzball.
Because it has Blitzball.
You really like Blitzball?
I want to play some sport. I want to play some sport. I mean, there's volleyball, I guess, in Destiny Islands, but...
True. Yeah.
We could probably morph the rules and turn it into Blitzball.
Yeah.
on
There you go.
Destiny Islands.
Yeah, perfect. So I like that one. I feel like as long as you don't go to like the snowy parts of like Kanto and like Pokemon, right? Like Kanto would be a good place to take a vacation, hang out with your Pokemon, like that kind of stuff.
Even without the Pokemon, it's just like a suburb.
Seems lovely. Yeah.
Like a countryside suburb. Like,
you should be in marketing with how you present some of these places.
well,
Like,
what is it? There's houses, there's some trees, like there's a
like
lake.
chill forest, you know.
That I mean,
area, you
there's
can see it,
caves. Like it's just a real ass place. Like,
yeah. I just want to
Take a
go to real
vacation.
life. Yeah. Yeah. Just somewhere where it's not -40 and my eyebrows freeze. So yeah.
Cool.
Alrighty. Last one. We went through that one quick, but last one is good here. This one is from Crater. Well, the last one was good too. Sorry, didn't mean to say the last one was bad.
Wow.
Last
Yeah,
one was a
wow.
stinker of a reader mail. You should be
Bad
embarrassed.
host. Yeah, I told y'all to bring some more fire. This comes
Chris
from
Raider.
C Raider, the man himself over on
All right,
Discord.
let's do it.
Says, do you think the Horizon devs learned and applied lessons from Breath of the Wild releasing immediately after the first Horizon game, effectively defining a new benchmark for open world games? And if y'all need a reminder, the year was 2017. The Switch was coming out. A little game called Breath of the Wild came out and kind of took the industry by storm. And Horizon, unfortunately, had the ill timing to come out right next to that. So I'm curious, Kim and Greg, who have played and beat Horizon, are there any lessons you think that Guerrilla learned from that experience?
You go, Kim.
Oh man, don't put it on me.
As
You know
somebody
what?
who hasn't played the game, of course.
Yeah.
This was what I was going to say. So many developers were influenced by Breath of the Wild. I mean, I've done so many interviews where that game comes up as inspiration, or just like, wow, I really thought differently about, open world games and stuff based on this. And like, obviously, they're with exploration and the shield wing and all that, people will say, but they claim that they had the idea for the shield wing for the last game, but they just
and they couldn't
fit
implement
in.
it.
So I don't know if there's like, I don't play this game and be like, oh, they totally like ripped off Breath of the Wild here, they had so much influence here. But do I think that like if they probably have like thought about the game in some of the ways that they've implemented stuff? Probably. You can't deny how powerful that game was, but that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think you can generalize the question, right? I mean, I think most devs have played Breath of the Wild and applied something or learned something from that. Because that's when I talk. And again, I've never created a video game, but the developers I talk to talk about playing games and that influencing their work all the time, whether it's a UI idea or something like that. Yeah, okay, so the shield wing or whatever is something they thought about for the first one and couldn't do in time. So you want to share whatever, but like. Clearly the climbing, it was compared so much to it. And granted, we already talked about how, we all janked our way up the walls, in the first one. So clearly they need a solution for that. And this is there. But like from that, I mean, even in, you don't cook in Forbidden West, but you do get ingredients to give to a chef to cook to make you a buff. And granted, that's also like a Monster Hunter kind of like, there's so many different things of like, this type of game, this genre of game, you can see how one influences another, how something goes on like that, and how I think even to this world that Forbidden West is, not to say Horizon Zero Dawn's world wasn't fun to explore, this one's way more fun to explore, and it like we were talking about earlier, there is a lot for me of that. There's a question mark over that bluff. What's it going to be? Which was such a Breath of the Wild thing, which was such a Fallout 3 thing, which was it goes on the way that, yes, these influences, I don't think it was as direct as Guerrilla saw it. It was like, we're doing that exactly the same, you know what I mean? Or a little bit different even.
Yeah. I mean, all art comes off the shoulders of other people, but I really, from my time with Horizon, it felt like those were just natural progressions, right? Like playing like Assassin's Creed 1 to 2, right? It just felt like a natural progression of the combat, natural progression of like the climbing and stuff like that. And having those systems so then they could implement it later. I think we got to stop comparing everything to Breath of the Wild. I think it sets expectations to be like every open world game now needs to be a genre defining title. And I think that's wrong. I think Ghost and Horizon have shown now that it's like open worlds can still be great, even though they rely on some of those old conceits of an open world. Right. And I think I think it's dismissive to some developers too, where it's like, oh, you're just ripping off Breath of the Wild. It's like,
sure.
No, those systems came before Breath of the Wild, and yes, that game 100% like maybe did it best, but it doesn't mean like everything else is like derivative after that. Does it make sense?
100%.
Alex, I don't appreciate you taking this tone with Breath of the Wild, my friend.
Yeah. You want to go there?
It feels like you're being a little bit of a hater. You know,
A hater?
little contrarian. You know,
because I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
My
forget.
number one game, dude.
Fight,
Come on.
fight.
No, I agree with you. I don't think, as somebody who Breath of the Wild is my favorite game, haven't played Horizon. Like I said, I made it a point trying to correct that soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, not everything.
You're gonna say I made a point to not play it. I was like, oh, who's
no,
the hater now?
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to playing it. Not
Yeah.
every game needs to be Breath of the Wild. You know, it just doesn't make sense. And also, like, it'll start being cookie cutter if everybody copies Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean,
there's good. Their difference is good. You know.
yeah, and like I play a game like Horizon, I see influences from, you know, kind of what Greg talked about. You see the influences from multiple games, from different things, but like these are things that just like developers are getting better at and putting in games, and you see how like one thing really resonates with people. And like, you know, we saw even Assassin's Creed build, how that series progressed even with its RPG elements and building out the world. And I see some stuff from recent Assassin's Creed games and Horizon and all that, but I think it's just influence, and it's where we've taken the technology and know-how for like what people like, what works in these games. And but they're also building their own things. I mean, there's, you know, people can argue that Horizon has a little like the Monster Hunter feel with the big machines, but like I don't find like, not many games I play make me feel the way I do when I'm fighting in those Horizon battles, you know? And
Sure.
Monster Hunter evokes a different feeling for me, but also is like I'm fighting these larger than life beasts, and that's really cool. So I just think like, yeah, we're gonna see influences all over things that seem similar, but I don't think like benching it all on like this one game has changed is now how everybody's gonna do it, because I think developers like to have their own touch on their worlds as well.
For sure. I think the one lesson we're missing here is that Herman Hulst walked his little cute butt over to Nintendo and said, hey, delay Breath of the Wild 2. And Nintendo's like, yep, we got you. And that's the lesson they learned. They asked him to delay Breath of the Wild. So
listen, we know we kind of screwed you over that last time around. We'll fix it this time.
We'll take one for the team here. Yeah.
My sources have confirmed this story as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Game Informer Show. Before we go and say goodbye, Greg, if you have anything you want to promote, anything you're excited about, Kind of Funny, now's the time, my friend.
Yeah, you know, we talked about at the top of the show a little bit. Like, we have a new review scale out there, so we're, you know, still reviewing games like we always have been for the past 7 years, but, you know, trying to get into a more, not I want to say conversational controversy where you get to that moment of, well, do you think it's good, or do you think it's great, or do you think, you know what I mean? Really forcing people like Blessing Adeoye Jr. to pick a side. So you can check those out usually on the Kind of Funny Games cast, which goes up, of course, each and every week on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and podcast services around the globe.
There you go. Fantastic.
Awesome.
If you had to rate this podcast on the Kind of Funny scale, what would you give it?
5 out of 5. Amazing. Come on.
There was only two ends of that spectrum you're gonna hit on. So.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
1 out of
5. Yeah. Greg, thank you so much I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot
thanks
of
for
fun.
having me. Please, this has been awesome.
Good. I hope you'll come back, maybe in a studio form one of these days.
That'd be awesome. Can you imagine?
Yeah. One day. Maybe if Cisco gets married again, you can come back to Minnesota.
Exactly. That's the only. I only come through when Cisco has a life event.
Yeah.
Christening of his next child, maybe.
There you go. So, viewers, listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure like, share, and subscribe. That helps us a ton, more than you know. We appreciate your support. Be good to one another, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.